They can see the kinds of songs that he's singing. Raise your hand. Keep going.
I am a singer who enjoys Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin, what people would call the old school style of music, mainly swing music. I enjoy big band swing music, which is the stuff that really gets your heart pumping and gets you dancing. In fact, out in Uncle Giuseppe's on Long Island, I sing those songs, and so many people come up to me and say, "Oh my God, I thought that was a recording. I thought that was another, like something else. I didn't know that was live. I didn't know that was you." And it really warms my heart to hear people talk about that. And when it comes to connecting that to my interest in radio and podcasts, I would love to discuss the old area of music that I feel is not talked about as much as it should be. This is very important. This is the Great American Songbook. And I feel it's slowly dimming into the background, and we need to keep that there. We need to keep that in its own spotlight, something that needs to be up there with the greats, because it at time was the great, and it still is great.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. Katie's smiling. I'm speechless.
That's the lead, my friend. That's the lead. That was excellent.
That was excellent. And here's the bottom line, Robert. How did you feel?
Pretty good. Pretty confident in myself. That
exactly.
I made all the cards on the table.
That was absolutely fantastic. I felt you. First of all, before you were like, I want to do this. You were in your head. When I'm talking, I want somebody to make me feel something. You made me feel you. And you guys, you know that Maya Angelou quote, don't you? People forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget the way you made them feel. And that's what I wanted to, that's what we're trying to get at today. Make me feel something. You know what else comes up for me with the singer I told you about, Berklee College of Music? He got in with bands. Of course, with COVID, all the weddings stopped, but apparently they're starting up again. I would look into wedding bands out in Long Island. There must be millions of them out in go ahead.
I know here at the Madison Theater at Molloy College, I have never seen them perform, but I've seen the posters for it. I believe it's called the Long Island Swing Band. And it fits perfectly. It's a round peg and a round hole. It's right up my alley. I have made plans to call them, but of course when COVID happened, everything shut down. I was a little worried about that. But I am planning on getting in contact with them because I would love to do that. Have a swing band behind me playing these songs, playing the Great American Songbook that I fell in love with as a kid. I felt so weird as a little kid. My favorite artist when I was really young was Elvis, and everyone else was talking about the modern pop of the time and all of that. And I'm just here with my old tunes, thinking I'm such a weird kid, and realizing now nostalgia is back. It's back in full swing. People love it. People appreciate it so much. Like just the fact that I can find this picture of Frank Sinatra and the classic scene at the pool table in a random mall in Mineola being sold shows me that it's still around. It's still kicking.
I love that. And you know what? Instead of like a weird kid, I'd go with old soul. I'm an old soul. And that's why an old soul that's ready to come into full swing. You're an old soul. And yes, I'd reach out to them. I'd send links to my recordings. For instance, do you know how to do a CV? Just for the record, like make it more your bio. It should be more of your bio, your background, that when you send something to like a music people or an entertainment kind of thing, it's more like not your typical resume. It's more, here's my CV, which is more like where you've sung, who you've sung with, things like that. It's more like for actors. We could talk more about that, but that's the kind of thing, certainly your links to your music that you want to send, and anything else that you've been involved in school. Did you say, I think I missed that, but did you start the podcast club at school?
No, but I did not start or found the podcasting club here at Molloy. That already existed. And I know that at least, I think Janice can back me up on this. I think it was my sophomore year, maybe last year, when they finally got all of the equipment, they got all the microphones, they had all the audio set up, but we were this close to having people sign up and start programs and everything. And then COVID came in.
Right. It's, yeah, exactly.
Oh my
We just
God.
hope to
All
pick
right. But
this up in the fall.
yeah, but you know what? We can kind of work around, just say, you could say that you were helping setting it up, like you were very excited about setting
I
it
didn't
up.
know
And
that.
everybody
I have
understands
worked on the
about the
equipment
COVID.
before.
What's
I
that?
have worked on the equipment before, the microphones and all that, because I actually had to use it for in a class. We had a class where basically we had to make 3 films, and the last one was a documentary that I had to do fully. I had to write it, I had to direct it, I had to edit it, and I wanted to do a voiceover for little parts in between to give some information to the audience. And I sat down and wrote a little tiny script, and I sat at the microphone, and Tom Kenny helped me out with this, and I gave some crystal clear voiceover recordings. And it was my first time ever thinking, wow, I'm actually using my voice as a voiceover artist.
That's super cool. By the way, I want you to write this down. There's an organization that I'm involved with. It's part of Live Nation, and it's called House of Blues Music Forward. And they put on, because of COVID, webinars on how to break into the music business, how to do sound engineering, all aspects of the music business. And they are doing all you have to do is register. It's free. And you're meeting with producers, you're meeting with people in the industry. And it's unbelievable. Plus the fact, FYI, they have internships there. And because it's COVID, it's all online now anyway, but it's incredible to meet the who's who in the business because you're online with them. And then you can, like kind of what Katie would say, then you write to them. Oh, hi, so-and-so, just was on your webinar. You were fantastic. Oh my God, this is what I'm about. Could we have a conversation? That's awesome, Robert. Great job.
Could you tell me one called House of Blues?
Yeah, I'll have to look on my phone because I have it. Yeah. As we go, I will definitely, I'm putting my phone back on. I will definitely send it to you. But it's, yeah, if you just go to HOB Music Forward, it's got like a red thing on it. And otherwise, I will definitely send you the link. Who else? Eric or
Hello.
Chai? Go ahead.
So what do you mean?
Well, what are you interested in?
No, well, I do it I study like filmmaking and everything, so it's more like movies, storytelling, writing, television, maybe like scripts, for because scripts, storytelling, that sort of thing too, because things like books or like video games too, like those are also valid. But hell, I'm even here right now in the lab editing one of my projects.
Wow.
But
Okay.
yeah.
But I want to hear more from your Tadala. Like I started because give me your story. Tell me your story.
I
Not what you're doing, but who you are.
I always sort of liked like television and storytelling and that sort of thing. Books, books, video games, when they're like focused on like narratives, I guess. But it's because when I was younger, I didn't go to the movies for a long time because I was intimidated by like the large screen and like the dark room and everything. But then kind of when I remember the first movie I think I saw in the theater was Wall-E. Was that '08? That was like the first movie I saw in like the theater and everything. And then it's like, I kind of like became comfortable to it. It's like, yeah, I like the movie stuff and everything, and then just kept like watching them and everything, kept sticking with it. And then I became also fascinated with like how they're made and everything, because it's a collaborative process, and I do think like I work well with people and everything, and I just started always thought about it and everything, and I was kind of at a crossroads too, because it's funny because I was almost Katie because I kind of wanted to do journalism and honestly more of like entertainment journalism. fact, I even helped run like a Twitter account about like movie journalism, and it's kind of taken off in the past 4 years. It's discussing film on twitter.com. You can just like look it up. We've gotten pretty big in the
How
past.
many followers do you have?
Let's see. You know, and it's like it's a group effort, so it's not like I created it and everything. We have 207,000.
Holy shit. That's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, no, and then we've been getting we got like interviews with people and everything too. So then it's like, you know, it's like I could talk about movies and I could also well, I hope to like make movies and everything, but I could definitely talk about movies.
Have you done anything? This is fabulous. And I hope this is on your resume or also on your cover letter. That's something you'd want to talk about. Because again, you guys all bring amazing value. I got to be honest with you. I am like really impressed with all of you. Really impressed. But you definitely, don't negate that, again, as I keep saying, that side hustle, because that's the value that you bring. Have you done any jobs? What internships are you looking at? What have you done in the industry?
Oh, well, for the industry too, like I've also covered a couple conventions for like the outlet like I work for and everything. I remember one time, I had Tom Kenny like loan me out a camera so I could even do it.
What convention is it? Guys, who, what, where, why, and how?
Now,
Yeah.
yeah,
Was it Comic-Con or something?
yeah, it was one of those at Nassau Coliseum in like 2017, but they haven't done it since because I think it was kind of a racket or a scam. So it's like, and a lot of people were mad.
Oh,
But I had fun with it.
well, that's good. But, and is there any other things that you've been involved with?
Well, I do, I'm doing student films and everything here, but I haven't really had the opportunity to intern because of the COVID. Like we were thinking of like going to what is it? Not the is it Grumman or Drummond? The studio is in Farming, like that airplane company runs or whatever. Like we were thinking of doing that, but then like COVID hit and everything.
Yeah.
So then I've just been interning for like the college sports department, filming like lacrosse and basketball games.
Okay, that's great.
I do want you to have a chance to talk to Godera, because I think she, like Eric, all of them very talented.
All of them, Janice.
Yeah. Godera, are you on the call?
Yeah.
Did she run away?
Did she run away? There she
No.
is. And then Chai, I want to get to you too, and Thomas.
Yeah, Chai, we'll definitely might, because I have 2 more years of torture with you. But Godera, can you tell a little bit? No, because I miss them. They grow up and they leave me so quickly. But Godera, tell her just a little bit of what you're doing and what you have been doing with internships, because I just want you to get a sense of how creative these students are on their own, like Eric. Go ahead.
All of them.
Like my past internship or like past and present? Okay. So like when I first started interning, I started last summer, and I worked for like a kind of a social media advertising company. I edited a lot of like their I edited a lot of like Instagram videos, YouTube videos, podcasts. I was like editor. I was a video editor strictly. And then last fall semester, I worked for a film company virtually, and I helped with YouTube videos. I helped develop new social media content, different topics, just like a lot of things like that mainly. And then this past semester, I worked for NBC as a broadcast operations intern, and I mainly it was like a lot of research. It was mainly a lot of research things. So I would research like different projects. If somebody from a different department was working on a video editing thing, they would ask me to do some social media research for them, find specific tweets, find specific memes. And those are pretty much my internships.
Those are great internships. Little FYI, when you call yourself a video editor, like on your resume, I don't know what it looks like, but I would be calling myself a digital marketing, either assistant, associate, like raise your level. Do you know what I mean?
For marketing.
They're not, yeah. It's called digital marketing. There are so many freaking jobs out there, you know, you guys, for digital marketing. I get them every day. That is so great to have that background, because that's such an asset to anything, to music, you know, to helping people with music videos, editing things. So of all these jobs, and how did you get the NBC job? Just curious.
I saw, so like I've always wanted to work like at a bigger media conglomerate, and NBC was like the very first one that I found. I had applied to them in the summer, didn't get in. I applied again, and then that's when they finally accepted me for 2 interviews, and I got accepted into one of the departments for them.
Is there a way of going back this summer?
Only like I would have to reapply, and so like I like the company, but I want to do a different field. Like I came to realize like that's not the specific, like the research part, that's not really what I want to do. I was glad to work for the company, but now it showed me like, okay, this is exactly what I don't want to do. So let me look for what I do want to do.
Okay, I love that you said that, because I've just been working with a kid who just worked for Sony TV, you know, I mean, Sony Studios. And he was working for a producer who'd been there for like 29 years, but got because of you know, whatever, because Sony's moving in a different direction. They're trying to do like a Hulu thing, you know, because it's just a lot cheaper to do than setting up all these studio stuff. And it's incredible. And, you know, I said, did you get a recommendation? He said, no. I said, well, God bless you. I said, well, why not? I go, why don't you write your own recommendation and have somebody sign it for you? And to your point too, he was just almost like ordering coffee via like in LA, because she was doing some Lifetime movie, you know? And I said, you know, you could say you work for Sony, just like you're saying, you could say work for NBC, but you're not doing what you love to do. Sometimes it's better to start in more like what Thomas was saying, like more conglomerative kind of thing, where you're really working as a family and moving your way up, because then you're doing what you love to do. And not just say, oh, I work, you know, which is great. Don't get me wrong. That's fantastic. But right. Then you realize, okay, you're going in there every day and just like, you know, looking up stuff when you want to be more working. Can you just tell me a little bit about your background? Like, what's your story? You know, what's your story?
When you say my background, what details are you looking for?
Well, like I was saying before, I want to know about you. It's like, hi, you know, who are you? If you were interviewing with me, and maybe you could use some of the things that you've interviewed with. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
My name is Goldera. I am a communications major with a double major in Spanish at Molloy College. I'm about to be a senior. I'm 21 years old. I have high experience level with script writing, there's a better term to say this. Tom told me a better term to say this. I have experience being a director in the TV studio, as well as being like a director of photography when it comes to field production. And I also am skilled in, video editing is what I usually would say. I'm skilled in video editing as far as whether it's films, documentaries, and also music videos.
Okay. I love everything you said, but it was like I pushed record. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm skilled at, I'm this at. Again, who are you?
I don't know.
We've been working on this though, Kelly. I mean, Deborah, we've been working on this because I think the media students need more of this.
Yeah.
And because they're so talented, but they need to now find that, like you said, their niche, their story, and to make it theirs, not a script, but theirs to say. And Goldera is an excellent example of that. I mean, go-getter, just just aces everything that she touches in her internships. But when you ask her, there's this retrieval, this,
Yeah.
and she's got to work on that dynamic story that she is.
Yeah.
This story.
That's exact, Goldera. Janice is completely correct. When you're telling me about all that, I can see your confidence in it. But when I'm asking about you, I would love to see you blossom. I want to know about because now I'm curious. I mean, you've done such great things. I want to know about you.
Yeah.
So I want to know about you, and then you bring that aspect into it. And I'm sorry, like you'd get every job you went after. Which, like, I'm Goldera. From the minute I was 5, like, can I just ask you something? What did you put on I don't know if you did the to-do list. Is there anything on the to-do list that you can just kind of read off to me? And I'm just wondering if there's a nugget in there that you could weave into what it is that you've done.
I mean, you asked me like what I was most excited about is like I was when I was in high school, like I didn't have film and television, but I always knew like I wanted to be like I'm more of an in front of the scenes person. I'm not even a behind the scenes person. I did a lot of musicals, so in kind of asking like what are some exciting things that I did, it was me, living out that kind of dream role as being an actress, or it was me being a choreographer for certain like dance numbers in like the musicals basically. So those are kind of like most of the things that I wrote about, because I never really got a chance to like be in front of a camera or anything, because it's like there was really nowhere to apply to do that. So that was kind of like the highlight of what I was able to do in the field that I kind of wanted to do it.
So because you felt like there was no place to go to really follow your passion, you just now wanted to go behind the scenes? Like
So I don't want to go behind the scenes. Like I still, how do I want to put this?
Hi, Clark. How are you?
I still wholeheartedly, I don't know how to put this. Like I still wholeheartedly enjoy being in front of the scenes. It's just the fact of like, I know that knowing the behind the scenes will help me with the in front of the scenes, if that makes sense, because knowing both ends is like, yay. Like, but I like, even now, like I'm in the middle of putting on a film for one of my classes, but I'm also acting in somebody else's. So it's like still giving me that liberty. And like now I'm able to put on my, like, if I can't have someone hire me, I can hire myself, because I can film myself. I can put my camera on the tripod and do my acting, so I don't have to worry about if someone else doesn't accept me for it. So I think that's more of where I was wanting to go with it, because I do also like directing. And I see a lot of people, whether it's, music videos or whether it's talk shows, they're the director and the person in front of the camera. So I feel like having those two niches together definitely raises the bar.
Okay. How many of you got more of a story of Goldera? How many of you learned a little bit more about her? Exactly. So Goldera, what comes up for me is, when people call themselves like on Broadway a triple threat because they sing, dance, and act? I think part of your story is, if you were interviewing with someone, just say, I kind of look at myself as a triple threat. Not so much that I can sing, dance, and act, because I can do all that, but I also want to, and if you started a list, I also like to direct. I like to be behind, I can film, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this. And I'd be going, who the hell am I speaking to? And you said something about dominating. Damn right. And just say, I am here to dominate the entertainment industry in whatever way possible. Because everything that I take on, I create.
I love that. Triple threat. Like it.
Boom. See, you guys, that's why the to-do list frees you up from, I'm skilled at, I'm good at, I like to do this, into who you really are. And I love that. Goldera, I had a client like that too, that had been in front of the the front of things, and he wants to be like a screenwriter now because something changed in his life. So I would definitely say that in high school, from the minute I landed in high school, I was in every musical. I was an actress. I choreographed the dance. We did. And again, you guys, I want specifics. Did you do Music Man? Did you do High School Musical? Show, let me see what you did. Don't just say High School Musical. We put on the School of Rock. We did this. So I could see what kind of thing that you're choreographing. And now, since I've been going to college, I've done this, I've done this, and I've done this. I know I could dominate the entertainment world if given the opportunity because I have done all this. See how powerful that makes you? I'm feeling it already from you. So I know it's like we're whatever, but I just would love, Godera, if you could just do one more shot at it, because it's all repetition, you guys. Hey, it's like being an actor, right? If I was interviewing you right now and I want a girl who's going to dominate the world and for my new film, so it's like roll them. So tell me a little bit about yourself, Godera.
Okay, my name is Goldera Searles. I am a double major in communications and media studies and Spanish. And ever since I was younger, I knew from the moment where I was like 5 years old and I saw from cheerleaders to different television shows and different films that like I was always interested in the entertainment industry. I didn't want to be that person sitting down if it was like at a desk. Like I didn't want to be a lawyer. I didn't want a police officer. I saw me being part of that entertainment world and trying to take heed of that as much as possible. I joined a lot of dance teams, a lot of step teams, and then when I was in high school, even though I loved film, we didn't necessarily have film classes, we didn't have radio, we didn't have any of those things. So I participated in mainly musicals. So my freshman year, we did Hairspray, Bring It On, In the Heights by Lin-Manuel Miranda. And not only was I an actress in every single one of these musicals, I also helped choreograph a lot of things, especially with my background in cheerleading. I helped choreograph a lot of the stunts. And also when I couldn't be in the fall plays, I choreographed those as well. And it kind of just gave me that joy of, not only being in front of the camera all the time, but being behind the scenes of the magic that happens that everybody gets to witness.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. This is so much fun. How did that feel?
That felt better.
Damn right it did. Damn right. I'm sorry. Now I'm not going to be able to use this recording because I'm getting like too exciting. I'm getting too excited. But thank you for showing me who you are. You don't think by telling me that, you just told me everything about you. You're somebody who could take on anything. I could give you anything and you would just go with it. And you didn't even get into all the stuff, the internships you've had. But you guys, this is what it's about. Excellent, 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 Goldera. You got it. Chai, you've been so patient. I am dying to speak to you.
I'm just a patient person.
God, good for you. Oh, tell me, first, let's start with your to-do list. What on there when you were doing it going, wow, I just really remember I loved this.
So basically my whole life is in sports.
Oh,
I started out with soccer when I was 3, and then I went into gymnastics, taekwondo, karate, swimming, and then here I am with volleyball now. And when I was younger, I actually was very into arts, all kind of arts. I loved the art, going to the art museum. I was in musicals. I was in quite a few plays. What else did I do? I went to poetry slam contests and stuff, literally in love with poetry. I was in talent shows, and then I've always been a person that likes to go above and beyond, and I've also been a person that's like, you can hit me with whatever you got and I'll take it on. But when I went into high school, my mom wanted me to lean more towards the STEM field because she's a person that's like, I just want you to do good in your life. I just want you to be rich and successful, and like that whole spiel. And she basically like had me leaning towards engineering. And she would put me in a whole bunch of tutoring classes for math. And I'm actually very good at engineering. I'm actually very good at math, but it's not something I love to do. And I figured that out when I went to LSU for a reHAMS camp, which basically introduces you to the majority of the popular fields in engineering. And I found, and like me being the artsy person I am, I was like, okay, maybe I'll do civil engineering because that's pretty close to architectural engineering, building houses, drawing up. And when I got there, it was not for me. So she was like, so if you're not going to do engineering, what are you going to do? People don't believe this when I tell them this, but I actually took quite a few major quizzes based off of my personality. And a lot of them were pointing in all different types of directions because of how open I am to different things. And after doing a lot of research, I found that my passion led me to communications. And so I was like, okay, I'll get to school, I'll see what it gives me. And honestly, I'm actually in love with it. So
that's awesome.
Here I am.
That's awesome. I could see you in communicate. And what do you love about communications? What kind of communications do you want to be involved in?
So I've always watched a lot of movies and shows. Like when I was younger, I was the person that was analyzing the movies more or less than watching them for like the actual impact. I'd be like, so why did they do this? Like I knew that was going to happen after like within 30 minutes of the movie. Like after taking Dr. Prebrum's film art class, it like made me realize how much I've actually loved movies than I actually thought about. Cause like before I was like, okay, I used to watch movies. And then living with my roommates, like they see how many movies that I watch and I'm like, I never even realized this, that I watch way more movies than could be healthy.
So what do you want to do with it? What would you want to do with it?
So since I'm so open, it can also be, it's a pro along with a con, because it's like, since you're used to being so general, it's kind of hard to single out exactly what you want to do with it. So since I'm so open, I'm like, I'll try cameras, I'll try editing, I'll try filming, I'll try directing. And I love all of it, but I don't know exactly where I would go.
You know what's coming up for me? I'm just, I'm very intuitive. I could be intuitive in the wrong way right here. But it was interesting something you say, you analyze movies. Well, what comes up for me is that being an athlete, right? Volleyball and all the things that you've done, you're always analyzing your plays. You're always analyzing where the ball's going to go. In soccer, it's like, okay, let's look at the thing. And I love, and that's part of your story. I think that you would say, I've been an athlete my whole life. So my whole life has been about analyzing games and how to play them and the best ways to play them. I'd love to bring that thought or that sensibility into movie making and get people to really think about what is being actually played in the movies, or something to that effect. And why not get involved in some kind of like sports, people that making sports commercials or sporting kinds of things with your background. I wouldn't throw that by the wayside. I'd really try to incorporate that perhaps into what you're doing. Maybe like an ABC or NBC in their sports programs that you could edit sports things because that narrative. You've lived that since you were 3 years old. That would be an amazing, since 3 years old, I've been playing sports my whole and analyzing. I mean, I worked with a kid who was a tennis player. He was like on a tennis team at college. So I said, well, I'm here to coach you. He goes, Deborah, I've been coached my whole life. I was like, wow, that's so cool that he understood the idea of being coached. But, other people are like, I don't want, no one's going to tell me what to do or whatever. But I think that could be a very interesting thing for you. And while you love movies, you got to really understand why you love movies. What kind of, again, it's like what I was talking about with what kind of movies. It's kind of all over, and it's great to explore that. I'm working with a girl right now she's 24 years old. She doesn't know what she wants to do, but her big thing is and golf and cooking. And somebody, a parent might go, oh, well, we're not going to get into that. Well, damn right, we're going to get into that. She's going to volunteer right now at the Kips Bay Showcase House for Boys and Girls Club of America up in Connecticut. And she's going to get into the entertainment part of it, or the event part of it. She's going to go talk to the Culinary Institute people and start, because she's a great thing. So she doesn't want to sit in an office and do one thing. And I kind of feel that way with you, but we got to start with somewhere. And that would be a great place for you to start, because you don't want to bring ambiguity to somebody. You got to have a little bit of a clearer picture of what you might offer somebody. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And when I say that to you, what's your thought about that? Is that something you've ever thought about? Is to bring sports into more of the movie making or the television or news or, that kind of thing?
Well, it's kind of funny that you say that, because my best friend back home is actually looking at going into sports management. And it's so funny because I always ask her, like, what is this? Like, how are you doing this? Like, what's made you interested in this? And like, where are you going with this? And it like always interests me, like because I always ask people, like when they tell me what they're doing, I'm like, wow, like that's so cool. Like what made you interested in this? Like, how are you, like what? Because I'm a huge communicator. So like I'm always talking to people for like hours on end. And I'm just like, sometimes you might want to tell me to shut up because I will keep you here for too long. But thinking about it personally, I've actually never really considered it. Mostly because I feel like since sports was like my whole life, it's like sometimes it's like I'm not a person that's been I watch like all of these sports on like TV and like been behind the scenes when it comes to sports. I like to be so involved in them. So it didn't occur to me to like think about it for sports wise.
Well, I think I want you to look up a company called IMG. They're the largest sports marketing communications firm for sports. It's like they've got Tiger Woods, they've got everybody, every tennis player, Serena Williams or whatever. And I just think that you'd really connect. I'm just putting this out here for, just in case. But it'd be like, let's say you worked for IMG and Serena Williams, they're shooting that commercial for, that headache medicine that she does. And they have you part of it. You could talk on that level, and I'm sure they don't hire a lot of people that have been on the level that you have. And then you kind of move from there. But it would be a good thing for you to start, because I feel like you're a little outside of yourself, looking at what other people are doing to kind of define who you are within yourself. That is a part of who you are, and go with who you are and not what other people are doing. Believe in what you bring to the table. And from there, then move on to different things until you really realize what it is you want to do. Look what I did. I went to 3 different schools. I did PR, I did marketing, I did communications, I did all those kinds of things. And, when things like that, by the way, who else is in communications here? Well, everybody, I guess, right? Is that one thing about like working for a PR and marketing firm was really cool. Like I had fashion, I had beauty, I had luxury, I had sports, I had all kinds of things. So every day you're working on different things and you're communicating, you have to communicate different messages. That's why too, I'm able to open up doors for my clients, because I've been in the business 30 years and I know every possible business, person, place, or thing that I can pick up the phone and go, hey, I've got a great girl, Katie, or I have a great girl, I have a great, person I'd like you to talk to. They believe that that person's ready to take on. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Think about that. Think about that. Look at IMG. Look at communications company. Do you think about PR? Do you know what PR?
Yeah, my aunt is actually in PR. So
I could see you in PR.
Really? Like that's what my aunt tells me a lot of times too.
Absolutely. I could see you in PR and communication because you guys sit down, you're coming up with ideas of how to communicate people's places and things, businesses, messages. And I got a feeling
when we first met, I had you on the professional side and you were like, no, 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 media. See, you were supposed to be on my side. I'm just saying.
you know what? And being on your side, Janice, would allow you to try to get into TV. When I had fashion, I was making TV commercials. I was setting up photo shoots. I was doing all, that's what the beauty of PR and marketing and like you're saying, the professional side is you get to have your hands in all of those kinds of fields. You know, people just think, oh, if I work for TV and things like that. But in PR and marketing, you're always putting on commercials for things. It's really a cool profession. Just, you know, and there's tons of them, of course, in New York. Just let me, that's the vibe I get from you. And again, I'm pretty intuitive, but that's the vibe I get from you, babe, is you'd be amazing. And because you're so open, they could throw things at you and you could probably handle it all. Just saying. So you guys, I just want to share something with you too. I know we're not at the end or whatever, Janice. I'm happy to speak to whatever. I just want to let you guys know because I know school's coming to an end and I'm almost sold out, but starting Monday, I have put together a very interactive place to go to learn the who, what, where, why, and how of how to land your dream career. And I put it here in the chat and it's at yourcareerdesignlab.com/class. And it starts with the to-do list. And then it starts with the proprietary questions. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What do you want to do 5 years from now? And we craft 4 or 5 stories like we've done in this hour for each individual person and really cultivate your story. Then how to put your story on the resume and how to put it on the cover letter. And then we talk about what doors you need opened. And then I help you to create that. Pick up the phone and go, hey, Chai's going to call you. I've been working with her. Or Janice is, Guldera's going to call you. And so at least it's a person that you know that you've been vetted, that you can now go and that person's willing to speak with you. So if you guys are interested in that and really going deep into what we're talking about tonight, check it out and see if it's something that'll be 6 weeks, live, interactive, just like this, asking every question and really cultivating your stories. And did we get to everybody? Eric, Katie, Jonathan, did we get to Robert? We spoke with Robert, right? Robert was the singer.
Yeah, we lost Thomas. Thomas had to go to another class.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But is there any, so Chai, I know you're kind of going, oh, I don't want to get that. But sometimes you got to take that step, babe, dip your toe into something that's a little familiar to you to then branch out, and Godera, I feel the same with you, babe. Like what we talked about, your story was like phenom and keep going with that. And Jonathan, I think for you, I'd be happy to, if you reach out to me, here, I want you guys to reach info at your career design. Oh, hold on. Designlab.com. I will set you up with the guy, Nick, who I know's, doing some of these productions. Also, Katie, for you, FYI, I think Nick's cohort is a woman who does all women movies. It's kind of like a Reese Witherspoon deal, like she just wants to make all these empowering, incredible movies. So it's by women, for women, and hiring women to work in the movie and, in the business. So I know ABC's your dream job.
It can be put on hold if I get another opportunity.
Wow, that's
exactly. Oh,
wow.
Oh, Katie, I'm glad I'm not your boyfriend. I can see where that would be going. I like you, but I got somebody better over here. But, because also, babe, I just got to tell you, it is really hard and, to break into the ABCs of the world and whatever. But the stories and the stuff that you've got is so freaking cool that start with a more of a production kind of thing and work with great people and have people really like you so that you can be recommended and maybe they know somebody at ABC. That's a networking deal.
Yeah.
That's I mean, I got to be honest with you, my friend, here's a perfect example. I'm just being totally transparent, but my friend Jody went to school with the girl from 2020. And so she picked up the phone. Hi, my son just graduated from Brown. Do you think he can get an internship? Now, I don't know. She's got a stack this big of resumes. Who got the job? Josh worked there. And guess what? He's going to law school now at Wharton. So he was zero interested in working there. But it's because they went to school together. It's how it works. There's a reality check to this, you guys. And with all of your talents, sometimes just having somebody pick up the phone and go, will you talk to this person is what you need. And then you go from there. You're all young. This is your first time out of the gate. Build up to it sometimes. And like I was telling with the girl, like Jonathan, with the girl who became the production assistant, where the guy was like, oh, I really liked working with her. I'm going to hire her for this movie. It's a Kelly Green movie. It ends up going to Sundance. It ends up getting sold to, I don't know, Bleecker Street. And the next thing she knows, she's got a freaking credit. Her first thing out of the gate. It's crazy. And then she ended up working for CMA actually, but she hated it. Just FYI on that. You just, and I kind of get the vibe from all you guys that we're not really corporate here. Would we agree with that? Well, Katie, maybe you are. I can't hear you.
Explain what you mean by corporate.
Well, here's an interest. I've worked with a lot of kids, for instance, in music, and we got her a job at, I forgot what it was called, Sony Music or one of those things. And she said, Deborah, I don't want to get dressed up every day and work from the bottom up. So she ended up getting a job working in a music studio that where it's producers and songwriters come together in the studio. So she set up studio time, and she Justin Bieber came and Blink 182 came, and she was able to Katie's smiling, and she was able to set all that stuff up. And she loved it because she was just hanging with them. You know what I mean? And it was cool. That's what she wanted to do. And now she's moving a little bit more into corporate. And what I mean by, more buttoned up, more red tape. That's why this girl, Sarah, didn't end up liking, again, working for the big name. But the big name is all about getting chai lattes at Starbucks sometimes.
I can do that. It's okay.
You know what? I got to be honest with you, baby. For you, Katie, I don't feel like it's okay. I feel like you have more value than that, to be honest with you. You look what you've done already that brings value into a company like that. No, you're not a child like none of you guys are. And trust me, I've worked with clients where I'm maybe you want to take the job where you're doing the chai latte for a while, just to get into what you want to get into. But no, I want to tell you something. None of you are chai latte people. So don't ever settle for that.
I like that. I like that. I'm going to make a flyer. So when they come into the lab, you're not a chai latte person. That's wonderful.
Right. No, unless, of course, unless Jonathan, you're on a movie set with Reese Witherspoon and you're doing what you love to do. And then she asks you for a chai latte and you go.
Actually, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but the film I actually worked on, it was with Danny Aiello.
Cool.
And it's actually crazy. So one of the last days of production, I had a full-blown conversation with them. And the only reason the conversation started, well, one, I asked him if he was thirsty, of course. But another reason was, oh, no, that's what it was. I gave him the drink. And then he's like, I cheers. I'm like, oh, Danny, I quoted something he said in one of his movies. He's like, you're right, I did say that. And we went into a whole conversation. And I said, oh, well, my aunt, she loves you. She always makes that reference. He's like, really? And he told me, he's like, get your phone. We'll call your aunt right now. And he called my aunt on the phone. And my aunt, I heard her from the next room. She was screaming. She's like, oh my gosh. But I tell you, it's so crazy the little thing you have to do and you're in. That's what I love about networking.
That's exactly right. And I'm really glad, Jonathan, you brought that up. And that's what we're talking about, right? And this
Yeah.
is the course. It's how do you network? How do you make that connection? I love, and again, you made Danny feel great. You
Yeah.
knew about him. You guys, especially all the fields that you're in, it's all about making people feel like they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. I mean, in PR, that's what we have to do. It's a lot of hand holding. It's a lot of like, you're amazing. Like I would get somebody in the New York Times who, by the way, was like nothing last week, but I get them like on the front page of the New York Times and she'd go, Deborah, this is amazing. When am I going to be on CNN? And oftentimes I went, okay, here's a news flash. You were nothing last week. Let's just get it straight. And now you got some notoriety. Of course, I never do that. I go, I know. Well, now look, you're amazing. But that's exactly how it works, right? That's why when you guys go on LinkedIn or you meet somebody or okay, like you want to bring that into your conversations. Danny, I watched whatever the movies are. I know he's been in a lot of things.
Yeah.
100 times. I loved when you said this. Did you have a lot of takes with that? I'm just curious because I want to be this and I'm boom. Danny might say to you, God, this kid's so not. Were you able to express what you're interested in? Or did it not go there?
Yeah, well, actually, because I mean, like I said, I was a production assistant, so it was hard because a lot of times I would be working. But any free opportunity I had that I had the chance to talk to him when he obviously wasn't working or he wasn't reading lines or whatever, I did take as many opportunities to actually talk to. Even if like there were times I remember someone had to bring a suit to his trailer, and I offered to do it. I said, "Oh, I'm like, can you do this? I'll do that for you, so you don't have to take your car and drive the trailer and whatnot." And I know it's kind of manipulative, but there would be certain times where I would like, if there was another PA doing something or I was asked to do something, I tell them like, can you do the catering and I'll go over there and I can do a good talk to Danny. I hate to say it, but that's the dog eat dog world.
It's the right world. And by the way, Jonathan, you bring up a really good point. You guys, one thing I used to say to everybody in my office when I ran my PR firm is you need to be 3 steps ahead of everybody. And this is in all the worlds that you're in. And Jonathan, you touched upon this, and that's what it reminded me of, is that we want to think for someone else. Hey, I think that you're going to need this. Or, I was just thinking you might, nobody loves somebody better than someone who's thinking for them. Do you know what I mean? And
no, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, exactly. And with that is also I would always say to somebody, it's a thinking. So again, always bringing, whether it's your story or whatever, it's the who, what, where, why, and how. When I would put on these big events, if one of my staff members came to me, okay, Deborah, this is where the event's going to be and blah, blah, blah. And I'd go, okay, well, what time is it going to be? And they'd go, and you just go like the blank wall, go, oh, I go, you're fired. Like, no offense. I was doing Trump before Trump was doing Trump. I go, you're fired, because I can't go back to the client and go, oh, I'm so sorry. We never mentioned what time it's going to be. We look like idiots.
Yes,
so
of course.
You always want to be 3 steps ahead, thinking ahead for somebody. That's where your value comes from too. And that's also in your storytelling, that I did this for this, you want to incorporate that into what you're doing. Like Jonathan, for instance, if I was like, let's say I was Nick. So tell me, we've done to tell me about yourself, but how would you incorporate what you've done about that? You know what I mean? Well, when I worked for this thing and I spoke to Danny and I would do this, can you give me a little soundbite on that? So what do you think your strengths are? I'll ask you a question everybody's going to ask you. So what do you think your strengths are, Jonathan?
With my strengths is that it's not that I would say I'm better than anyone else, but I have like the energy and passion to, work. I could work a 14-hour day and not complain once. I'm willing to give you all and everything. I'll help you with any direction you need. The thing about this is that I kind of did things without asking too, because I knew eventually that they were going to have to be done. Like when, if we first got to a scene or something or whatever, I'd have to go in the basement. I'd go grab 3 tables by myself, bring them upstairs, set up the placement, because I knew right after that I'd have another task of maybe getting signatures from by whatever the background actors, something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I like where you're going. I'd cultivate 4 or 5 things that you did. For instance, for example, when I was working down, I would bring up the 3 tables, but I knew right afterwards the people would need that. So I had that table set up where they could sign in. And I knew that we were going to break for food. So I made sure that Danny Aiello's favorite food was sitting at the table. So when he sat at the 3rd table in, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
paint
no.
a picture for me.
I literally ran 2 miles to pick Danny up a Sprite. Just because I actually, my claim to fame is that I introduced him to Sprite because he loved Diet Coke, but we ran out of it. So I introduced him, like, Danny, try this. I usually like it. Sometimes it's better than a Diet Coke. And he loved it. So every day he'd ask me for it. And I'd always keep it in a secret place where no one knew where it was. So that's another reason I would go and get it and give it to him, because he'd ask for it, but no one knows where it was.
See, these stories are great. Do you see how stories just make
Yeah.
you smile? Stories are engaging. It's stories are what getting a job in
It's all about.
anything is all about. And you guys are all in the storytelling business, quite
Mhm.
frankly. So those are and then what we do is we put that on the resume. So when somebody's like, oh, what did you do here? Instead of like, well, I organized that. I did this. I directed this. You go, I'm so glad you asked that, because when I was working that movie company, and you bring them in, Katie,
Yeah.
or, when I did this, or Goldera, you bring them into the resume, not I directed it. Yes, I did that. And also, if there's any numbers, Katie, like on your thing with the Instagram and all that stuff, if you've got numbers, you always want to bring numbers into it. Jonathan, where I went from 0 to 50,000 followers or whatever. And there was somebody else, I was trying to keep straight of everybody. Who was the other person? Was it Chai? Eric, about, no, I thought it was somebody else, about bringing in those numbers about what they've
I think
done.
it was me.
Was that you, Eric?
Yeah, with the Twitter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, you've got a lot of followers, but everything's numbers today. Even the kid that I got, the music kid, into, that production company, they're always going, get your numbers up, get your numbers up, get your numbers up. For all of you guys, it's followers and things that you have. Also, I just want to talk about social media for a split second here. You guys, you're all a brand. Does anybody know what I mean by a brand? Nope. Okay, let's talk about brands for a second. And I know you're getting tired and hungry, so we'll wrap it up. But I want you guys to view yourself as a brand, because when you're coming into a company, that's what they want to be hiring. And what I mean by that is, everybody knows, like McDonald's or Wendy's. If I showed you a flat hamburger bun, what would you say where's that from?
McDonald's.
The flat hamburger bun?
At the store.
Store. It's Wendy's. Wendy's does the square. The double cheese triple thing. What is that? That hamburger. What?
Is that McDonald's?
That's correct.
Yeah,
If
sounds like
you
a double
see a
quarter
swoosh
pounder.
line, what's that?
The what?
That swoosh line, like,
Nike.
correct. Good. Right. So I could go on and on and on and show you logos and show you things, and you go, oh, that's that. And you would know what it stands for. When they did the swoosh line, what's the logo that goes under the swoosh line of Nike?
Just do it.
Correct. And so I'm going to say to all you guys, I want you to be the Just Do It brand. And what I mean by that is, on your social media, on the things, we don't have the, or the duck sign, because I'm telling you, all of these companies, ABC, NBC, things, the first thing they're going to do after looking at your social media and see if what you're talking about, are you walking your talk? I want to go on social and going, wow, this guy is posting things of movies. Oh, look at that. She spoke to so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. She's the freaking real deal. Look who she got to. All of you, Chai, your sports things, whatever, really look at your social media as part of your brand of who you are, because they're looking at it. Is that making sense to you? So when you're talking about, that's why you're saying on my social media, I always post things about I love athletes. I want to, I want to celebrate athletes. That's why I'd love to work for your company so that I can create that narrative because I'm a communications person. Katie, for you, I am a celebrity obsessed, not in the way of a stalker, like you could be funny because it could come off, but just that I want to engage with them in a meaningful way. Jonathan, I love helping people in any capacity. That's why when I work for this production company, I always saw 3 steps ahead because they're looking at it and they're seeing what you're doing. Because as we know, pictures speak louder than words.
Yeah.
So those are just, we've gone over the stories. I go more in depth about the resume. Also your resume needs to be branded today with all of you guys in communication. How many of you love your resume? Does it have color in it? Does it have a vibe to it? Any show of hands that
we're not there yet.
Okay.
We'll bring you back for the resume portion of the workshop.
Okay, because I do have a company, like a software that I work in, you pick out your color and what it wants to say about you. Maybe your skills are really good. Maybe you have like really good engineering skills. The person I was talking to, you want to highlight that. Maybe you're, I love the digital marketing aspect. We want to highlight that. So we could talk about that afterwards. And I'd love to go more into depth too, Janice, maybe at another time, is more of the flushing out the stories. Maybe what you guys can do in your spare time, which I know there's no spare time, is really think about what we've said tonight and just kind of write out maybe a little tiny bit stories of who you are. I'm going to leave you with this. I got to just share this with you, if you don't mind, Janice. So I was working with a girl and she wanted to be in sales, and she worked at the Four Seasons down in Miami. And she goes, well, I really want to sell and want to sell and want to sell and sell and sell. Okay, whatever. I said, okay, I'm sorry. Got to stop you right here. I feel there's something in your background that where you came to love sales. She goes, well, I don't know if this matters, but when I was 5, my mom opened up my Dora backpack and $20 bills spilled out of it. And my mom goes, all right, Sophia, fess up. She's not just selling drugs. I don't know. She's like 5. I don't know. She could be selling, and her mom goes, fess up. What have you been doing? She goes, well, I always wanted to buy food in the cafeteria, but you never let me. And you make me my salami sandwiches. So her mom would put 5 slices of salami in her sandwich. Instead of selling the sandwich at 5, she sold each slice of salami. And she'd have the kids lined up like, you are missing out by going to the cafeteria. This salami slice is the best thing I've ever had, but you can't have it because you're buying pizza in the cafeteria. I'm eating salami. And they're like, what? So she would sell each piece for $5. I am letting you know, we set up interviews for her. She got every single interview. By the way, being an anchor in Tampa, they were hiring her for that because she could sell. That was in her DNA. That told volumes of who she was. She didn't even have to freaking get into the resume because somebody tells that story, that's their brand. This kid had the wherewithal, Jonathan, we talked about the thinking. At 5, she had the thinking of how to upsell. Done. That is one of the most powerful. I mean, when we both came up with it, it was that moment where you're going, oh my God, who knew that about myself? And I know each of you've got that aha moment just by talking with you. So I want you to go back and come up with that aha moment that you could tell somebody who's interviewing you.
Thank you, Deborah. This is so great. We will have you back, I promise.
I hope you guys got something out of today. Is there anything you want to ask? Any last questions that you have?
What was
Actually,
that?
I got one. Oh,
I do.
Well, before you start asking questions, I hope I had this to 7 o'clock. I hope I don't get cut off. So
okay, Tal. No worries. No worries. I do hope to come back because you guys, I got to be honest with you, you're all freaking rock stars. And I'd love to see you get into the career of your dreams because honestly, you all deserve it. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, but it's amazing. Who wanted to go first? because I want to make sure you really understand what I'm saying. Go ahead, Kate.
What was the thing you said? The women's what?
Oh, I got to find out. It's through that guy, Nick, that I'm going to introduce to Jonathan. He had told me what the women's group is,
Okay.
the women's production company. So I'll have to, email me. I want everybody to email me. Okay. So that I've got your email so that this week I can find that out and then I can send it to you. Katie, here's who you reach out to. Here's this, here's that. Okay, babes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Jonathan, I think you were next.
Yeah, hopefully we don't get cut off. I'm just curious. So like, now I'll be graduating next month. What do you think's like the first thing I should do now that like that I have this freedom? Like the first thing I should do, like, should I just start contacting people? Should I just start putting my resume out there? Like, I have to make a LinkedIn, obviously, but what do you recommend?
Okay, first of all, you guys should all have LinkedIn's. Before you make a call, you've got to have LinkedIn. Sorry,
Definitely.
you just do, because
Yeah,
that
no, I
just,
agree.
you know, and you put that on your resume, by the way. LinkedIn, that's like the first thing they look at.
Okay.
If I were you, what I would do is I get like the Hollywood Reporter, I get like all those kinds of magazines, and I find out what productions are coming up.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like what
Yes.
movies are going to be made in 2021, 2022. Okay.
Okay.
Then I'd look at who's producing them or who's hiring, who's putting the film together. And then what I would do is I'd have my resume, I have my story together, and through LinkedIn, I would reach out to them and go, hi, Jonathan Demme, I'm just saying, I read in Hollywood Reporter that you're going to be starting a movie with Meryl Streep in 2021. I've been a production assistant. I've been this. Is there someone that I could speak to, that kind of thing? And we could talk, that's a whole other section, to be honest with you, Jonathan,
Yeah,
how you write those cover letters, how you write those intro letters to engage.
Definitely.
So, but that's what I would do. I just right now do a little bit of research and find out if that's the strategy. Guys, here's a news flash. Getting a job is a strategy. It is like everything else in life. It is a strategy. So I help you with the strategy of going to get that. So that's what I would do. Whatever movies seemed real interested, maybe they have the production coordinator or something on it. You know what I mean? Then go to LinkedIn, find them, go, I know you've done this. I've done this. Could you spend 15 minutes? I'd love to share with you the movies I've worked on. I'd love to help you on that movie. Is that helpful?
Very much. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's research, man. It is.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know what, you guys? It's a numbers game. Hate to say it, but that's how I used to. It's like when I would ask one of my assistants, so did you call Vogue? Did you call Harper's Bazaar? Yeah, I left a message. You're fired. It takes 100 calls. It's 100 follow-ups to get that one job interview. I hope you guys are all making Excel sheets. Call this one, follow up on this date. Are we all doing that? Okay, I'm getting the chirping, no sound bite, the no sound bite right now. That's something else we go over in my program, is doing the Excel sheet, reached out to this person, followed up. This is what people want to know. I can't tell you how many producers would want to say to me, you're a pain in the ass. But instead they go, wow, you're really tenacious, which I know is another word for pain in the ass, but I didn't give a flying, whatever, because I'm getting what I want. Getting my client on TV. I'm getting on Good Morning America. Call me whatever you want.
That's how I got on ABC and Good Morning America. I was sending my resume every week, and this is the old school. And this HR woman wanted to know who was this pest.
Right.
And when I walked in, I better have a great elevator speech, and I did. And she was like you, Deborah. She said, I want to know who the hell is this woman who mails me every week the resume. And I had a great elevated speech and I got hired right there.
That's it, you guys. That's why I say this is a no judgment zone. I don't want to hear anybody ever saying, well, I could have, I should have, I would have, whatever. Nobody wants that. It's like, here's what I'm doing for you. And quite frankly, you don't hire me. You're the one freaking missing out. You're missing out on that story. You're missing out on my value, but okay. You got to kind of have that. We're all actors playing a role in life. I remember being in acting, just to say, and I came out and I was supposed to be like a pregnant woman, but I walked out like whatever, like I was 15. And she goes, Deborah, you're supposed to be 9 months pregnant. That's you when you're walking into that interview or you're talking to someone on Zoom, you are that character. And that's why we go over and over and over your story. We find those nuances, just like you would in a movie thing, so that you say it with such conviction and passion and confidence. Chai, do you have something to say? My communications person.
I was just curious on whether, like, when we email you, did you want our school email or did you want our personal email?
Whatever one you're comfortable with, babe, you know.
Okay.
And again, if I know of people, if I can, you know, but again, before you open that door, I need to hear what story you're going to tell, because, you know, it's I'm just being honest. It's my contacts, and I got to know the people I'm sending through that door are confident enough to sell themselves in the way that you need to. I mean, I've had companies write me, thank you so much for sending me Chai. Thank you so much for sending me Katie. You've helped me do my job so much better. These are vetted, incredible people. You know, I just sent somebody to House of Music, Music Forward. It was her and another person. The other person got the job for whatever political reasons, but she said, thank you so much for sending these. If these are the kind of candidates you bring to me, I'm all in. Goldera, yes.
So like, I could talk to people and everything and now sell myself with your help, but and I'm gonna say this in the most serious way possible. You said to add like our LinkedIn and stuff, but like, what do you feel like if your LinkedIn is just not where it needs to be? Like I see and I try to look at people, like when I've done internships and I'm working at an internship with somebody, I'll be like looking at their, you know, their resume and on LinkedIn, I'm like, how do they make it look so like, I don't know I have a LinkedIn, I have a lot of connects, I put stuff there, I put when I work, but I just don't feel like it looks as beautiful as it can look.
Well, guess what, babe? It's not about the way it looks. Again, it's the story that they're telling. When you're saying how it looks, it's because when you're reading it, you're going, damn, I see what this person's all about. So it's not about how it looks. It's about what it's saying to you. That's another thing that we go over. And that's a great point that you brought up, Goldera. That is huge. Again, it's part of your brand. You know what, you guys, in PR, I would do this thing. It's called the 1, 2, 3 punch. You know, it'd be one thing to get somebody on Good Morning America, but if no one's reading it in Vogue or New York Times, it's like, oh, I think I saw that somewhere. But you want people to read, see, hear, feel you. So again, they're looking at your LinkedIn, they're looking at your social media, they're looking at your resume, they're hearing your story, and that's what creates the whole thing. So that is a whole session onto itself. How do you write that LinkedIn profile? How do you connect on LinkedIn? It's a whole game plan, but that's a good point. So, but once you get your story down, then you're able to tell it like that. You know what I mean? And even in the resume aspect, you know, where it says objective, like work summary, or I don't know, work experience, I am an experienced blah, blah, blah. I have worked at, this is what my skill set is. So I am looking for a career in. So people know, oh, not going to put her in the, you know, the mail room. Does that make sense, Goldera?
Yeah.
Cool, babe. Yeah. Robert, anybody else have any questions before we leave? Because I just really want you to work on that aspect of yourself. Who are you? I mean, that's really the question to ask yourself. Who am I? And just, you know, sit back, meditate a little bit, and come up with stuff. Forget about what you've done and, you know, that kind of aspect, like organize this. Here's who I am. And then we could come back to the table and then start to put that, like Janice said, more into a resume in the LinkedIn profile, because it all comes from there. Any other questions?
Would there be like, do you have any like kind of more referral thing for like, I guess me and John about like production and whatever?
I do, but again, Eric, with you especially, yeah. I gotta know more. I'm not.
Yeah, well, email.
Yeah, we got to put the stories together, guys, before I really open that door. And I think we're getting, because I want you to step into the door. I'm as passionate about you guys as you are about yourself. I want, when that door opens, that you got the job. So again, Eric, it's not about, connections. It is about networking, but when you're ready to do that. And I'd like to excavate more with you. It just takes time, you guys.
Yeah, it does.
Do you see? It's
Yeah, I
not.
understand.
Thanks, Eric. Yeah.
No problem. And I look forward to talking to you more. I really enjoyed this.
Oh, we're going to do this again. I promise you, we're going to do this again because,
Thanks,
and Deborah, again, I just think that our students need more of this because it's going to help them have that pitch and that story. And I also want them to have that confidence that there's, like you said, the heart and the mind have a clear focus, and that there's no separation, there's no disconnect. I think that's very important.
Janice, 100%. Do you guys all get that? Do you know what we're saying when we say that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you got to be one with your direction and your focus and why you do it. You got to know, and anything in life is about why, So,
right.
So this is good, Deborah. And the sad thing is, I think I had Katie, Godera, and Jonathan. I don't get to have them as much on the professional side. So this is why also I want to do the workshops. So
right.
We'll have more of this with her. I'm getting on her calendar for the fall so we can start having more of this in the media lab and engagement. So
you guys, this was just the beginning. And Katie, I see that. I want to see the smile because you had such great stuff. But I think what's going through, I just have to ask you, what's going through your head right now, babe?
There's a lot of information. I'm fine. It's just, yeah.
This is a lot, babe. You're absolutely right, in an hour. That's why, again, I'm doing the 6 weeks so we can really excavate. It's an excavation. It's going in deep. But all I can tell you is I don't want you to dim your light because you all have great things. You will see once we start to do the story aspect of it, you're going to go, oh my God, let me in. I'm ready. Go, Dara.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't want to stop you. I didn't know. So when we email you, like, what should we say on our email?
Let her figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure.
You. No feeding.
Nope.
Nope. Feeding.
Yes.
Nope. And I have to say, and I think Deborah will agree with me, this is where, and I understand culturally we're all distracted, but this is where you have to go in your silo, figure yourself out.
Yeah.
And you are talented. I know you will come up with something. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm telling you, next time I come on, I really want to hear, when I ask you, tell me a little bit about yourself, I want you to freaking wow the S out of me. I'm sorry, I get like a little emotional. I use some words I shouldn't, but I want you to wow me. Mm-hmm. I want, but more importantly, I want you to wow yourself. I want you to find that aha moment, Goldera and Katie and everybody, where it's like, damn, look what the hell I've done in my years.
Yeah.
Look what I've made of myself, not what I've accomplished, because that's a mom teacher thing, right? We're all like, what are you accomplishing? What are you doing? Erase that out of your mind. But what's the thing that makes you proud, that makes you happy? Because that's the joy that you're going to bring to me as somebody who wants to hire you, because you're going to be fun to work with. You're a neat personality. I love your personality. I'd love to work alongside someone like you. That's first and foremost, everybody.
Well, thank you, Deborah. When she is coming back, Jonathan and Eric, when she comes back, I will give you access to her as well. So we can keep the conversation going. Okay. So
Okay.
don't worry about graduating. Just you will still be part of the Molloy family, which means be part of this. Okay.
I
Right.
will have her contact information by then. So
Yeah. Okay, good. And I thank you all for being on this call. I mean, this is something that I said I want to do. Excuse me, my voice is going. And I want to continue this. I think Deborah said something that's so right. It is about preparation. It's about finding your center or your voice, and it's about going after your dream. And that's what we're going to be doing with these workshops. So you will see more of her.
Yep.
Okay. So
All right, guys, I hope you have a great night. I hope you benefited, and it was so great speaking to all of you. Thank you for letting me into your worlds.